So this is my makeshift office, pardon the clutter. Next step in our evolution is we're going with the Pepwave Max Transit Duo router. We bought this because it'll be able to utilize both a Verizon and an AT&T SIM, which is what we have, so two different carriers. It'll be able to run them simultaneously, and they piggyback on each other, so if one drops, the other one will be able to stay up. It'll give us some redundancy on our internet and should maximize our download and upload speeds, which will be great from a work perspective. To pair it, we're going to go with the Poynting roof-mounted 7-in-1 antenna. This has multiple cellular channels and does Wi-Fi. The two of these are the recommendation from Techno RV. That's who we bought it through, and we will link in the description all the data and science behind it. They're the experts. We spoke with them directly to come up with the best solution for my work situation. So next step will be the install. So this is the Poynting antenna that we're going to surface mount on the roof. It's got an adhesive bottom. It's got a little bit of a channel for the wires. I'm going to be drilling this with a 22mm hole saw, which is the exact diameter of the route or of the chamber here. This channel is going to go through our roof. The wiring, I don't know why I'm holding it up like that. The wiring is going to come through. Each one of these will connect to the back of the Pepwave. The Pepwave is going to be mounted up here. So this is going to be my IT cabinet. It's going to go through the roof, and part of what we're figuring out right now is just the overall measurements from, I'm going to use the window as a starting point to determine from here to the inside of here, but up in this space here. We're going to cut the hole, go straight through the roof, route the wires down, and then mount the Pepwave back there. Reason I'm choosing this is because behind the TV we actually have power, which makes it really easy. I can just go through the hole right here on the side, plug it in there, so I'll have everything out of the way and protected, and it's not interrupting anything that we're doing, won't interfere with any of the other electronics that we have in the rig. My first thing I got to figure out is how far, when I get up the roof, to drill. What I'm going to figure out down here is how far from this window back I want to drill. And the reason I want to go from the roof down versus inside up is the way the trusses run across this roof. I can feel that when I stand on it from the top to make sure that I'm not going to go through the exact spot where a truss is, which is going to make it really hard because obviously then I'm going to have to drill a second hole. Goal is to not do anything more than what I need to, and to make sure I seal it up really well. Water intrusion is of course the biggest fear when it comes to poking a hole in your roof. So I'm using the edge of the window frame because that's something that I can see from the roof, and it's something that I can use as a reference point both inside and outside. Based on where it's at on the cabinet, my goal is going to try to go about 16 inches. That'll give me a couple inches over, since it's only a 7/8 or 22mm diameter on the hole that I'm drilling. As long as I give myself about 2 inches on each side, I should be able to get right into the cabinet with no problem. So I'm going to go poke the hole in the roof, and once that's done, I'm going to use a long drill bit and put a pilot hole for the inside, and then I'm going to do the exact same thing from the inside. I'm going to use the hole saw and poke up and then try to connect the two. So my high-tech measuring device, I actually have a carpenter's ruler. It's a rigid one, which works really well. So you see I'm running the ruler down the side of the RV to make it parallel with the edge of the frame on the window, and then I'm just using my high-tech measuring device, which is just a small thing of silicone, so I know where my starting point is, because as I said downstairs, the 16 inches is my goal, I might cheat a little and go like 15 just to be safe in case there's any dimensional differences between the casing on the inside of the window and the casing on the outside. I knew I have about a foot as long as I'm going towards the rear of the rig, where if I go too far forward, then I'm actually going to be going into my attic area, or the loft bed area. So what I'm doing is I'm just pushing on the floor, and you can feel where the ridges are for the trusses that go across. One of them's right here. You can tell by the rigidity. I would not call this an exact science, and I would not trust this as a measurement. This is just the way I'm doing it. It works, so I know where to cut and where not to. The goal is to avoid the truss. All right, here goes nothing.
What you got there?
So far, I got a hole. Woo! Hotter than a firecracker.
What happened?
So if you saw that, that was the little ejector spring that was on here that makes getting the wedge out a little bit easier. It just fell off. It goes on here, and it's a little spring, just helps push it up, but not the end of the world. You have a hole in the end where you can wedge it out. This only goes down about 2 inches at a time, so I had to clean it out and keep going.
So on a side note, make sure you do this on a beautiful sunny day. Check your weather forecast.
All right, so we've got all the way through. I decided to do 2 holes side by side, just so I could reach fingers in there and make sure there's no wires. Make sure that as I punch through the lower level that I'm not hitting anything that's important. There's also insulation, of course, in your ceiling, so you got to watch out for your insulation. You got to watch out for any type of wiring. You got to feel around, make sure you're not going to hit any of the trusses. Right now, everything feels really good. I'm going to use another drill bit that, of course, as Murphy would have it, I forgot to grab. But I want to take a longer drill bit and just poke through, as I mentioned, so that I can go on the bottom and then match up my holes, because this little bit isn't going to go through both sides. So Martha, enjoy yourself on the roof. So we're back up, got a nice long drill bit. One thing I want to mention when you're cutting a hole in your roof, with this hole saw, you need to be very careful. When it comes out of here, of course, it's going to be very hot from the friction of cutting the hole. I'm making sure that I don't stick it on my roof. I don't want to take the chance of melting or having anything happen, so I'm just putting a little bit on the crap pile that came out of the hole. Well, that sure didn't take long. Nope, don't want to do that. Okay, so I poked the hole. I poked the hole through here. Now I'm going to go down below and see if it came through.
I'll be right here.
You hold the roof for me. Don't let it go anywhere. I am very happy to say that I put the hole in the right spot. Yes, nailed it. You got it. It may not show, but I'll tell you, I was stressed of poking a hole in this roof and making sure that what I'm poking on top matches what I'm poking on the bottom. I poked through the bottom, poked through the top, and now all I gotta do, route all this big old spaghetti mess through the hole. The little interesting thing is, they have to go through one at a time because as a whole, it's too big individually, but going through on just the wiring harness is not a problem. So we're gonna have to route them through kind of carefully one at a time. I'm probably gonna go back down. I'm gonna have Martha route them to me and then I'll help pull them through on the bottom. We're just gonna have to send them through one at a time. See if I'm able to do this from up top. All right, well, they're through the roof. Now I gotta go back down and pull it from the bottom. The other thing we gotta do before we mount, they're through the roof. Now I got to go back down and help pull them through the bottom. The other thing we're going to have to do, we're going to have to make sure we clean off our PVC really well before we take this adhesive off. It's a 3M foam adhesive. We're going to go ahead and stick it to the roof. Then we're going to go over the top of this entire thing and make sure that it sticks really well. We're going to use a Dicor, which is what's recommended. Dicor is this self-leveling goop that you see all over our roof. It's what's recommended from the factory. It's kind of a pliable, a little bit soft, but it's a wonderful water barrier. It does a really good job of keeping all moisture out. So between this and the retention nut that goes on the bottom, we're gonna be sitting in pretty good shape. I'll be able to make sure this stays on through our crazy driving. We got a lot of adventures ahead of us.
This is hard work.
Can you see the two that are on the tip of my finger? Right there? Those two.
I feel your finger.
That wire there.
Ow, 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 ow.
Move your finger. Your finger out. That wire that's on the tip of my finger needs to come back. I'm gonna get my finger out. Go ahead and pull that all the way up. There should be one more with it. Did two come up?
Getting the second one up.
Okay. All right. So gently start guiding all that down. Get to the point where you're kind of in, let me know. So what I'm trying to get off is this stuff, which is just your normal road dirt, grime, goo, so that we get the most adhesion we can. I'm just using a simple ammonia-free glass cleaner. I just want something that's going to help me get up any of the nastiness, but won't leave any residue.
That's why I keep him. He can clean too. Wipe on, wipe off.
No, it's wax on, wax off. Wax on, wait, wax on, wax off. In this case, it's scrub, scrub, scrub. This is just a basic silicone, and I'm using this as an added precaution. I'm gonna go ahead and fill this channel right here. I'm gonna fill up in here, oh, wrong finger. I'm gonna fill the channel, I'm gonna fill right here, and then when I get down below, I'll tighten the nut from the bottom to make sure this holds in place, and then I'm gonna come back up and Dicor it. I'm gonna fill this up a little bit since I cut two holes. Now I get the pleasure of pulling off all these little insert circles. What these are is the antenna has an option to do a magnetic attachment. So if you were doing this on a school bus or a police car or something of that nature, something that's a commercial type vehicle where it has metal, you can do a magnetic approach. This is the hard part. Okay, that's actually really solid already. And then, as I said, I'll go underneath, I'll put the retention screw on if I can reach it, and then I'll come back up and I'm gonna do a layer around this of Dicor. I'm gonna do a layer around this of Dicor, and then once that dries, I'm gonna do a second layer. I'm gonna really encase this thing. I don't wanna take any chance of water intrusion getting into my ceiling. The next thing I'm gonna do is pull the TV down and work so I can get to the side. So we already have an Apple TV mounted here. We actually have an extra plug above the Apple TV. So I'm gonna drill a hole through the side of the wall right here so that the plug can come in right here. That way our Pepwave Max Transit Duo 12 can get power without having a massive mess of wires. As you see, I try to keep things in pretty good shape. Just makes it a little bit easier to keep an eye on. I'm making sure I take my time when I go through with these drills. These the lightweight wood will have a tendency to splinter out real bad and get nasty, so it's important to take your time and don't push real hard. So this is a mahogany furniture marker. Oh, there's a little spot right there. Put the furniture marker in and then just blend it so the hole's not as obvious. I'll do the same thing on the other side. I'm trying to get rid of any of the raw wood look. One of the biggest things that you'll notice when you're looking through your trailer is if you see something that looks out of place, that's where it'll catch your eye. So think of it like camouflage. If it doesn't catch your eye, then odds are you're not going to notice it. We just started putting the Pepwave up. I put a command strip on this side since there's no mounts. The mounts are on the left side, which is going to be the input for the antenna. I'm going to use the drill and I'm going to pre-drill so that I don't split the wood when I put the screws in. So by pre-drilling, it does two things. One, it tells me that I'm going directly into solid backing so that I know the Pepwave won't pull off very easily. I'll say very easily because inevitably things can fall, and they will occasionally. The other part is I'm not going to be splitting it because if it's like most of the construction in here, it's either a 1 inch by 1 inch or a 2 inch by 2 inch. It's a fairly small board. They got a good bite. It felt real good going in. It's snugged up real nice. All right, now the spaghetti monster that I got to work through here. I'm going to try to organize this.
Alright, so all this is supposed to help me get great internet so I can upload these wonderful videos for everyone. Thank you, honey. Hey guys, so it's been a couple months since we installed our Pepwave to our Alliance Valor 42V13. We didn't want to just throw the video out like, hey, look what we did. We actually wanted to test it, and Chris is going to tell you about the results.
I've been extremely happy with it. When I initially bought it, I thought it could only do a couple SIM cards. Turns out it can actually do 4, which is fantastic. We've had a chance to use it in 5 different states, and we have an AT&T, a T-Mobile, and a Verizon SIM, and I can say without a doubt it is stronger and better internet connection than from what we were getting from the WineGuard system. What we did was we would run speedtest.net on the back, and then I would get those numbers, go up front, throw it in the WineGuard. Then I'd run speedtest.net on the WineGuard, and I would compare apples to apples to see what our oranges come out like. So what we did find is on average we're getting about 3 to 4 megabits per second download faster off the Pepwave. I also have a stronger signal. So I would say overall we were steered right. It's a great system. I'm very happy with it, and I'm glad to tell you that Martha and I did an excellent job. We've had no leaks, and it has rained like a mofo in 2 different states that we were in. So complete success, very happy. Highly recommend it if you need some stable internet on the road.
So they do have excellent customer care. So don't be shy. Reach out to them if you're having some hiccups. We did, and they were wonderful.
Yeah, we had to work through a couple issues and just making sure I had the settings right and understanding how it should be set up, and in making sure the redundancy was doing what it was supposed to do. And it turns out it had nothing to do with the Pepwave or the Poynting. We had the wrong plan for our Verizon card, and it was throttled, so it was killing our internet.
So we got it all figured out, and we're actually very happy with the Pepwave and with all of our internet plans. Thank you guys for watching. Let us know in the comments below what you think. If you have this system,
if you got any questions about the system,
we're always happy to help. Thank you guys. Don't forget, like and subscribe. See you next time.
Thanks.